My mother worked as a housekeeper for a wealthy family. The family was fond of her, so they allowed her children to study with their young master, Lucas Harrison, to be his companions. My younger sister, Ashley, told me not to compete with her, so, as she wished, she got into the prestigious Northwood Academy. While I continued my studies at a regular public school, 5 years later, as I was about to graduate from college, Ashley died abroad, covered in injuries from abuse. On my way to identify her body, I was in a car accident. When I opened my eyes, I was back to the very day we had to choose. This time, without hesitation, I chose to be Lucas Harrison's study companion. Ashley just looked at me silently, offering no objection. I knew she had returned too. This time, we had switched roles again. Mom called me and Ashley over, her face beaming. Mrs. Harrison says our daughter and young Master Lucas are the same age. She asked which one of you would like to be his study companion. All tuition and living expenses will be covered, and there'll even be monthly pocket money. The terms sounded too good to be true. No more grueling studies. Just serve young Master Lucas well, and after graduating from Northwood Academy, you could even go to an overseas university or join his family's company. After listing all the benefits, Mom finally asked, Lily, Ashley, which one of you wants to go? Ashley was suddenly unusually quiet. She was the type who loved to play and hated studying, detested hardship. Being a study companion to the young master was practically a job tailor-made for her. In the last life, she couldn't sit still. After hearing the offer, she raised her hand and shouted, I'll go. I'll go. Then she whined at me, Lily, you're the older sister, and you're so smart. You shouldn't compete with me. Although I also like the learning environment at Northwood Academy, I knew this opportunity would be better for Ashley. So, I smiled and nodded. I won't compete with you. This time, Ashley bowed her head in silence, which even Mom found strange. Ashley, what's wrong? I thought you'd want this part. Ashley forced a smile. I'm too lazy, and I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm not suited to serve the young master. Let Lily go. I was certain she had also been reborn. Mom heard her and thought it made sense, so she turned to me. Lily, do you want to go? I replied calmly, this time, I'll go. Ashley turned to look at me, a strange light in her eyes. Sister, I knew you loved me the most. After the decision was made, my transfer procedures were handled very quickly under Mrs. Harrison's arrangements. I moved into their mansion, living and eating with Lucas Harrison. Lucas was 15, still not fully grown, but the aura of a privileged heir was already evident. He observed me, the newcomer, with a disdainful gaze. Have you showered? He asked indifferently. I immediately understood he was criticizing my darker skin. In the last life, Ashley also faced this kind of bullying. Such words deeply hurt her and made her self-conscious about her skin color, leading her to try every method to whiten it. That's why the photos I received later made her look like a bloodless doll. I responded in the exact same manner. The water was off in our neighborhood last night, so I haven't showered yet. Lucas immediately wrinkled his nose. Gross. If you haven't showered, don't come near me. Yes, sir. I'll go shower first then. I walked past him and followed the butler upstairs. The butler couldn't help but advise me, young master is a bit particular about cleanliness. You must remember to shower every day from now on. I politely thanked him. Thank you, Mr. Peterson, for the reminder. I'll remember. The butler left, satisfied. I put my clothes down and went into the bathroom to wash up. That evening, I ate dinner only with Lucas Harrison. His parents weren't often home, which was why they wanted someone to keep him company. Lucas seemed to find fault with me no matter what. Every time he looked up to eat, he'd glare. I pretended not to notice and continued to eat heartily. After about an hour, Lucas threw his chopsticks onto the table. The butler next to him broke into a sweat, but I continued to eat as if nothing had happened. This young master had been coddled since childhood and had never met anyone as brazen as me. Of course, he couldn't stand being subtly provoked. Are you a pig? All you do is eat. His voice was filled with annoyance and sarcasm. I finished my last bite, wiped my mouth with a napkin, and calmly spoke. Young master, we're in our growth spurt right now. Eating a lot helps you grow taller. How tall are you anyway? Lucas couldn't take it anymore and yelled, Get out, get out. No way, I thought. I calmly walked straight upstairs. I knew provoking Lucas Harrison, like this wouldn't end well because he didn't even need to lift a finger to deal with me. I pulled out a diary. The handwriting was messy, indicating the writer was in a hurry but had too much to say. I flipped through almost all of it and carefully put it away. The next day, I rode to school with Lucas Harrison. His class was full of kids from similar wealthy backgrounds, families with money, power, and connections, forming small cliques. Among them, Lucas Harrison's group was the most prominent. Money was one thing. Their good looks were what made them even more popular. When I stood at the front of the class, introduced by the teacher, the room immediately erupted in mocking laughter. Did she just crawl out of the mud? Oh my God, so provincial. Doesn't she smell? Remember not to get close to me. Every word clearly reached my ears. I could imagine how confused and embarrassed Ashley must have been when she stood here. At public school, everyone liked her because she was sweet and always helped others. Everyone wanted to be her friend. I swept my gaze across everyone below, my face cold. Gradually, the laughter died down. I'm Lily Chen. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. The teacher pointed to an empty seat at the back of the class. Lily Chen, please sit next to Ethan Miller. Ethan Miller was a notoriously difficult young master, known for having a worse temper than even Lucas Harrison. I walked over and put my backpack down. At that moment, Ethan Miller, who had been dozing with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them and looked at me, his gaze sharp and full of hostility. Who told you to sit here? The teacher. I calmly rearranged my things. Ethan Miller continued to stare at me. Seeing me sit down calmly, he suddenly stood up and kicked my desk, sending it flying with a loud bang. The entire class fell silent. Even the teacher didn't dare say anything. I looked at him and smiled, with a mixture of tolerance and helpless restraint. It's hard to control your violent urges, isn't it? But you did it. After saying that, I calmly picked up the desk and asked seriously, do you want to kick it again? You can kick it one more time, but if you kick the desk, you're not allowed to kick me, okay? I implicitly reminded everyone, including him, that he had violent tendencies. Ethan Miller had probably never been played like this before. He immediately grabbed my collar. I immediately covered my face and yelled, "Young master, save me." Lucas Harrison let out a faint chuckle and calmly spoke, "Miller, even when hitting a dog, you should look at its owner." My collar was released. I acted scared, patting my chest, and exclaimed, "Young master, you truly have the best disposition." Ethan Miller still looked like he wanted to act out, but due to his relationship with Lucas Harrison, he forced himself to hold back. I lowered my head and rearranged the desk and chair, not missing Lucas Harrison's amused and satisfied smile, as well as Ethan Miller's unreservedly scrutinizing gaze. Things were gradually diverging from the trajectory of the previous life. I was very aware of my place, so I was always devoted to Lucas Harrison. Running errands and getting him water were daily routines. My classmates would mock me, "The housekeeper's daughter is really good at serving people." I pretended not to hear them. Over time, they got bored and stopped commenting. This semester passed quite peacefully until the final exam results were announced. I ranked third in the class. First place was a quiet, reserved girl named Samantha Lee. Second place was Ethan Miller. When the grades were posted, Ethan Miller rarely glanced at me, his eyes seeming to say, "I didn't expect you to have some intelligence." I turned to look back at him and smiled broadly. "Next time, I'll be second." Ethan Miller scoffed and turned away without saying anything more. During the winter break, I finally got to go home. Ashley's eyes flashed when she saw me. "Sister, you're so pretty now. The Harrisons certainly haven't treated you badly. Good skincare products and designer clothes. A girl in her teenage years changes day by day. That's normal." I knew I had changed. "Ashley, you're pretty too," I said. I walked over and gently stroked her long hair, tied up high, swaying softly. In the last life, when she came home for winter break, her long hair had been cut short, almost to her ears. Back then, I wondered why she cut it so short since she always liked long hair. She just smiled it off. This life, I finally understood. Why? I gave her a new phone and an envelope with $500 inside. Ashley took it, looking at it with a faint smile. "You're living better than me, big sister. But next semester, you'll probably be exhausted. Can you handle it?" She rested her chin on her hand, looking at me. I nodded. "I think I'll be fine. How about you? Are you adjusting?" "Not really," Ashley complained while playing with her new phone. "The homework's hard. The The hot water heater keeps breaking, the cafeteria food is terrible, and mom just keeps nagging. I listened silently until she smiled faintly. Lily, you'll be fine wherever you live. But I won't. I hugged her from behind. But we're twin sisters. Our destinies are always intertwined. She replied softly, yeah, you're right. After the winter break, she gave me a new diary that was already filled. The path ahead is yours to walk alone now. In the last life, 2 months after the winter break, Mom moved back to our hometown to care for Grandma, and my sister had to transfer schools. From then on, Ashley and I only communicated by phone. Gradually, besides transferring money to me, she rarely contacted me anymore. I smiled and accepted the diary, hoping that when we met again, I'd see her well. Packing my bags to return to the Harrison mansion, Lucas Harrison seemed displeased. School doesn't even start right away, and you don't even want to go back? I smiled. It's just normal. Young master, are you studying properly? Can you surpass me this semester? The butler standing nearby winked at me, gesturing not to provoke him. Lucas Harrison was stunned by my words and irritably walked upstairs. I smiled at the butler and then went back to my room. Sitting at my desk, I saw the diary pages stained with tears. The bolded words there read, "That day, she came." My nightmare began then. I was no longer human. I became a dog. Anyone could do whatever they wanted to me. Diamonds and more. During the second week of the new semester, my class welcomed a transfer student. It was the girl mentioned in Ashley's diary, Ava Thompson. Eller scoffed and turned away without saying anything more. Ava Thompson, a transfer student, arrived, exuding an air of grace and beauty. Her face was radiant, and her smile angelic. She was Lucas Harrison and Ethan Miller's childhood friend who had moved abroad for school and was now back. Both Lucas and Ethan treated her noticeably differently than everyone else, a fact that didn't escape anyone's attention. Classmates began whispering about the relationship between the three of them. I overheard snippets and was surprised to hear my own name mentioned. When Ava first learned I was Lucas Harrison's study companion and tutor, she didn't show any disdain. Instead, she smiled, took my arm, and deliberately spoke for Lucas to hear. "Oh, Lucas is so naughty, Lily. You must have a hard time." Lucas, far from being angry, seemed a little flustered. "What do you mean I'm naughty? And if you think I'm naughty, then don't be my friend anymore." He even acted sulky. Ava was clearly used to his petulant behavior and gently coaxed him a few times until he calmed down. If I hadn't seen her cold expression as she quietly wiped the hand that had held mine, I might have wondered if Ashley and I had encountered the same person. Fortunately, it was indeed her. This arrogant and cruel young lady hadn't changed at all. The track meet and persistent bullying in the day of the sports festival, I somehow found myself signed up for the 300-meter race. I knew someone had played a trick. The gym teacher looked at me with a gleeful expression. "The list can't be changed now. You'll just have to train hard for the next few days." I subtly observed the expressions of my classmates. A few looked concerned for me, but most seemed excited for the show. In the previous life, Ashley had also been forced to sign up for this. She had been severely bullied then and didn't dare to resist, so she gritted her teeth and ran. The result was that she fainted right in the middle of the track. No one took her to the infirmary. Luckily, the school nurse happened to pass by, noticed her, and took her away. This time, it was my turn. My only vulnerable spot was Ashley. Otherwise, I treated everyone with a kind of detached indifference. "Young master." I stood up abruptly and shouted towards the front of the class, where Lucas Harrison was. "Young master, young master." He was talking to Ava Thompson and turned back irritably. "Quiet. What is it?" "I've been signed up for the 300-meter race. I can't run it. I'll probably die after running it." "You're the young master. Think of something." I said this without any shame. Lucas Harrison and Ava Thompson were both stunned. In the end, I didn't have to run the 3,000 meters, simply because Lucas Harrison said, if she doesn't want to run, then she doesn't run. The gym teacher immediately crossed my name off the list. Ethan Miller, sitting next to me, scoffed coldly. "Bookworm. So what if I'm a bookworm? Are you going to hit me?" "Why would I hit you? Just forget it." Ethan Miller was so angry he gritted his teeth and flipped through his book, the pages rustling loudly. I knew Ava Thompson was looking in our direction. I pretended not to see her, escalating pranks, and unexpected interventions. In the following days, my life became much more eventful. Once, I went into the restroom and someone drenched me with water. Soaked, I returned to class and stood directly in front of Lucas Harrison. "Young master, someone hit your dog without showing any respect to its owner." Lucas Harrison almost choked on his drink. Everyone in the class had different expressions. They probably didn't expect me to be so shameless. After that, no one dared to throw water on me again, but they started putting dead mice in my desk. I held the mouse by its tail and walked up to Lucas Harrison, seriously calling out, "Young master, again, someone hit your dog without respecting its owner." Lucas Harrison looked at the bloody dead mouse and almost gagged. He yelled, "Get away from me." I pretended to be heartbroken and took the mouse back to my seat, offering it to Ethan Miller. "Young Master Miller, if you take this mouse, we can immediately sign a master-servant contract." Ethan Miller's face turned ashen, but he was actually considering it. Lucas Harrison, who had just regained his composure, said irritably, "I told you to throw that mouse away. Get back over here." From that day on, no one dared to put dead mice in my desk again. After the dead mouse incident, the pranks became more sophisticated, such as framing me for theft. A girl from the next class lost an expensive gold bracelet, so the school immediately checked the cameras. After tracing it, they saw me walking past her just before she returned to class and said the bracelet was missing. So, the security guard and a teacher searched my desk and sure enough, found a gold bracelet in my drawer. Everyone looked at me with an "I knew it" expression, as if just because I was poor, I must be a thief. The teacher looked disappointed. "Lily Chen, even if you don't be quick to disappoint," I interrupted. "Take it for fingerprinting. See if I've ever touched it." My words left the teacher speechless. The other girl immediately retorted awkwardly, "You probably wore gloves when you stole it." I feigned indifference. "Show me the evidence." "Young master, young master, someone is trying to silence me." Lucas Harrison walked over, his voice sounding a bit pained. "Check it thoroughly." It wasn't her. The girl was about to say more when Ethan Miller suddenly cut in. "At most, she just secretly brought fruit back from the cafeteria to eat." I replied without any shame, "It was delicious, so I wanted to eat a lot." The teacher and the whole class believed me. I turned to look at the people behind me. Ava Thompson's eyes were cold. I just smiled innocently, a turning point and a glimpse into the past in the diary. The most important turning point in Ashley's life was Lucas Harrison's birthday party. Ashley was then struggling amidst isolation, bullying, and false accusations at school. Ava Thompson, the one who pushed her to rock bottom, didn't even bother to hide her contempt and malice. With a sweet voice and a gentle smile, she forced Ashley at the birthday party to crawl on all fours, bark like a dog, and not be allowed to speak human words. That was the last straw, the final straw that crushed Ashley. She gathered all her courage and begged Lucas Harrison to let her stop studying with him. She wanted to go home. Lucas Harrison scoffed and took out a video recording of the party. His voice was light. "You can go, but this clip will trend. Money-grubbing girl trying to please a rich family by barking like a dog at a party. Your face is clearly visible. I remember you have a twin sister, right? I'm sure your sister isn't any better." 16-year-old Ashley hopelessly compromised. After that, more humiliating and brutal waves of abuse crashed over her. She struggled to breathe, to survive. At 18, Ashley was forced to be the girlfriend of Ava Thompson's private driver, a man over 30. He openly enjoyed hurting her. Ashley resisted, reported him to the police, and even tried to escape. She did everything she could think of to save herself, yet she never succeeded. My Ashley, throughout that year, how much pain did she endure before she died? How desperate was she? I bit down hard on my thumb to keep from crying as I read the last page of the diary. Lucas Harrison's 23rd birthday party. He took me to a party. They forced me to drink drugged liquor. Everyone was like out of control beasts, while Lucas Harrison sat in the middle, silently watching me. Lily, at that time, I was in so much pain. My whole body hurt, my head hurt, my heart hurt, and then I died. I buried my face in my hands, trembling with sobs, completely unaware of when Lucas Harrison had entered the room. He frowned. "Crying is so ugly." I lowered my head, blew my nose into a tissue, my voice muffled. "Young master, what's wrong?" Why are you crying? Lucas Harrison grumbled and shook his head. Just because of those jokes. Jokes. When this word was created, no one probably thought it would be used to describe such things. I adjusted my emotions, trying to appear strong. No, I just miss home. Lucas Harrison seemed to be touched by something. He turned and left, leaving only a sentence before closing the door. I'll have Mr. Evans take you home. I knew he wasn't the same towards me anymore. Shifting dynamacy didn't go home. Lucas Harrison seemed quite pleased. Lately, his sarcastic remarks had significantly decreased. Not only that, but the malicious pranks also disappeared. As if possessed, he suddenly insisted on taking me to get a custom-made gown for his birthday party. I didn't think twice and flat out refused. Lucas Harrison was a little annoyed. Lily, Chen, don't be ungrateful. I focused on my book. I'm just a study companion and tutor, not a young lady who needs to wear a high-end gown. Studying hard is the best way to repay me. And once again, Lucas Harrison's face turned purple with anger, and he left. A few days later, Ethan Miller suddenly asked me, "What are you planning to wear to Lucas's birthday party?" I was staring at a difficult math problem and blurted out, "A maid's uniform." He fell silent. The next day, he brought a bag, a dress from a high-end brand I had seen before. He placed the bag on my desk aggressively, making the whole class turn to look. I shrunk back, waving my hands. No need. Please take it back. If it's given to you, just take it. Don't be ungrateful. Sound familiar? Lucas Harrison, who knows when he appeared, stood right next to my desk, his face unhappy. She's my person. I'll prepare her dress. Ethan Miller scoffed. She can also be my person. Don't fight over her. Ava Thompson tilted her head and looked at me. You two have no taste anyway. I'll take her to choose a dress this weekend. I smiled foolishly and refused. Evening gowns are expensive. I can't afford one. Of course, I'm giving it to you. What are you thinking? Ava Thompson chuckled, even lightly tapping my forehead. Poor her. She'd have to frantically wipe her hand afterward. Then Lucas Harrison also nodded. Go choose. I'll pay. Ethan Miller immediately threw the dress bag into the trash can behind him. If you don't take it, then don't. I looked at him. Seriously, it's a waste to throw it away. If you invite me to your birthday party, I can wear this. Ethan Miller was stunned. He glanced at me and lowered his head, playing with his phone. No regrets. I'll buy you a better, fancier one. It's a small matter. This quickly passed. The dress shopping went smoothly that weekend. Ava Thompson didn't play any tricks and genuinely helped me choose a dress that suited me. At the end of May, Lucas Harrison's birthday arrived. The mansion had been bustling for days. The housekeepers were busy decorating, the chefs were preparing the menu, and I was busy tasting the delicious food. After eating my fill, I pondered. In this life, my fate and Ashley's fate in the previous life were completely different. Would those wicked people still want to turn against me? That evening, at the birthday party, I stood in a corner wearing a beautiful evening gown. Lucas Harrison was surrounded in the brightest spot. Next to him were Ethan Miller, Ava Thompson, and other young ladies and gentlemen. I quietly watched them, mentally ticking off each name. Suddenly, Lucas Harrison turned and looked at me. Our eyes met for a moment. Then he turned away and continued his conversation. The high society Galathis party was primarily for young people within the upper echelons of society. Their social connections were just as crucial as those of adults. Hey, whose family are you from? A male student standing next to me bluntly assessed me from head to toe. The dress was certainly designer, but to truly highlight a young lady's status, sparkling jewelry, exquisite makeup, soft skin, and most importantly, the effortless grace to navigate a formal event were essential. I had no intention of hiding my background and answered honestly, I'm young Master Harrison's study companion and tutor. He burst out laughing, pulling a few others closer. I heard, she's the daughter of the Harrison family's housekeeper. It's true what they say. Clothes make the man. She actually has some looks. Did young Master Harrison spoil her so much that he bought her a dress? Is there something going on? They chuckled, as if they knew a secret between Lucas Harrison and me that couldn't be spoken aloud. I was about to call for Lucas when a girl beside me pulled my arm. Jace, don't say anything. Then she coldly told them, stop talking. You might bring trouble upon yourselves. The boys ignored her, grinning lewdly. Bring trouble? What's she going to show us? If she can charm young Master Harrison, she must have some interesting qualities, huh? Haha. I immediately spoke. Loudly, young master, someone here dared to hit your dog without respecting its owner. Lucas Harrison, leading a group of young gentlemen and ladies, interrupted his conversation and headed our way. The girl next to me sighed and backed away, leaving me with a look that said, "Good luck to you all." Lucas Harrison asked coldly, "What is it now?" Seeing Lucas Harrison coming to my defense, the boys immediately flustered. "We were just joking. It's nothing. That's right. That's right. Just chatting." Amidst the curious stares of the crowd, I spoke seriously. "They're saying that young master and I have a questionable relationship. This kind of rumor is slanderous. I think young master should be aware," I heard Lucas Harrison say. He told them, "Don't you have any sense of decency?" The boys immediately apologized profusely. Ethan Miller added a sarcastic remark. "Lucas, is your birthday party a free-for-all for stray cats and dogs?" Lucas Harrison was truly angry. He immediately called the butler and had those people escorted out. The party ended smoothly. Not only did I avoid the humiliation of the previous life, but Lucas Harrison also stood up for me. It was like a story about a poor female protagonist assigned to be a cold young master's study companion, slowly warming his heart. The feelings between us were quietly changing. Life in America and shifting relationship 2 years later, we graduated from high school. I followed Lucas Harrison to the States. Our relationship hadn't changed much, except he had grown accustomed to my temperament and care. I excelled academically, maintaining a top 3 position in my major even in the US. Lucas Harrison occasionally couldn't understand. "Why do you work so hard? When you come back to the country, you'll join my company. You won't lack a single penny. I brought you to the States not for you to live on instant noodles." I slurped my noodles without looking up. "I'll treat you to a feast tomorrow to thank you." Lucas Harrison was speechless and ended up eating noodles himself. America was a place of extreme freedom, so free that one's soul felt naked, running everywhere. Lucas Harrison was not the timid type. In fact, quite the opposite. If you looked at what he had done in the previous life, he was the kind of person who truly knew how to enjoy life. Enjoyment was the privilege of those at the top, whose wealth and status were predetermined at birth. The only thing left to stimulate their senses was everything else. Lucas Harrison had incredibly complicated romantic relationships. I suppose this is a common affliction among young masters. I had accidentally stumbled upon scenes that needed blurring out several times, but I wasn't surprised. Everyone was very casual. Lucas Harrison, needless to say, and the girls he was with were casual too. I was even more casual. I grabbed my laptop and reminded him, "Young master, remember to use protection. Diseases are a nuisance." Then I gently closed the door. Ava Thompson also studied abroad in the US. Although she didn't attend the same school as Lucas Harrison, they frequently met. She didn't become the radiant, shining young lady she imagined. Even though she couldn't completely crush me in high school, her nature was hard to change. She just altered her methods of attack. She herself said that there always had to be someone beneath her feet. Both of them were past their dreamy teenage years now, openly living in open relationships, each playing their own game. As for me, I felt like I was drifting through a chaotic world, only knowing to put my head down and do my homework year after year. Only occasionally, when I stared at the chat box on my phone, did I suddenly realize this was a completely different world in the previous life. Lucas Harrison had just finished showering and was drying his hair when he leaned over my shoulder. "What are you looking at?" He still carried the faint scent of shower gel and steam. Our cheeks were less than an inch apart. I didn't even need to tilt my head to clearly see his eyelashes. 21-year-old Lucas Harrison was fully grown, with broad shoulders, long legs, and sharp, arrogant features. He was the kind of person molded from money and aura, possessing a unique charm. Yet, between us, it was still innocent, just a little more intimate than usual. I turned my phone to show him. My sister sent me a picture. Lucas Harrison looked for a moment, then straightened up and left, saying, "Not as pretty as you, clearly." They were identical faces, returned to the homeland and new challenges. After graduating in the US, I returned to the country with Lucas Harrison. Ethan Miller and Ava Thompson also returned. The once playboy young master had now become a talented young businessman, swirling wine glasses and dominating the business. world. I naturally became Lucas Harrison's assistant. Ethan Miller tried to probe the nature of my relationship with Lucas Harrison several times. After learning the answer, he became very active in trying to poach me. This annoyed Lucas Harrison, who directly warned Ethan Miller not to approach me anymore. Ava Thompson entered the entertainment industry. In this day and age, a beautiful young lady, even without acting skills, still had countless fans. Not to mention, her family was willing to pour money into her, so resources were abundant. However, once, paparazzi caught her and Lucas Harrison entering and exiting a place together. So, their story was dug up from the roots, and it was unavoidable that it would trend. Phrases like childhood sweethearts, perfect match, made for each other, and I ship them, I'm serious, all appeared. Lucas Harrison, pursued by paparazzi, called Ava Thompson and had a big argument. After all, both of them were self-serving, so arguments were common. After hanging up, Lucas Harrison said in a deep voice, "Lily, cancel tomorrow's schedule." I nodded. Yes, Mr. Harrison. Recently, Lucas Harrison had been under a lot of pressure. Stepping into the company, the challenges he faced were vastly different from his school days. He leaned back on the sofa, fatigue like a thin layer of dust covering his face. Let's go to Elysium. Elysium, just hearing the name, you knew it was a place like a world of pleasure, a luxurious escape for the elite. I looked at the clock. 11:30 p.m. I didn't say anything more. Yes, I'll get the car. As I was about to leave, Lucas Harrison grabbed my wrist. I lost my balance and fell right into him. I gasped softly, "Young master." Lucas Harrison held me tightly and sighed helplessly. "Lily, how long do you think I've been holding back?" I looked at him with wide, innocent eyes. Holding back what? Are you hurting somewhere? So many words were stuck in his throat. Finally, he just gave a bitter laugh and released me. "You're too clean. I can't bring myself to mess you up." I looked down at the top of his head and answered naively, "That's right, I shower every day." In the end, Lucas Harrison went to Elysium alone, and I considered myself off work, a sister's support, and unforeseen events. When I got home, a nightlight was still on in the living room. I pushed open the living room door. Ashley was indeed still awake. She was wearing headphones, completely engrossed in her own world. Her waist-length hair was still dripping wet. She hadn't even bothered to dry it. Drafts were scattered all over the floor. She was tapping on something like a digital piano, her expression intensely focused, completely unaware that someone else was in the room. I didn't disturb her and quietly retreated to my room. Sitting at my desk, I continued to flip through the 2 remaining documents. I knew these 2 parties had no common ground with the Harrison Group's system. To achieve my goal, I had to leverage others. Lucas Harrison had reached marrying age. The Thompson and Harrison families were implicitly destined for a marriage alliance. Lucas's parents urged him to quickly get engaged to Ava Thompson, but Lucas Harrison seemed to be going through a rebellious phase. He pretended not to hear them. When pressured too much, he would turn cold, slam the door, and leave. While working, I occasionally looked up and caught his complex, unfathomable gaze on me. The Thompson family's influence had declined recently, making them even more eager to solidify this marriage. Ava Thompson visited Lucas Harrison more frequently and even proactively released news to the media that they were about to get engaged. To create a media buzz, Lucas Harrison was pressured from both inside and outside, and his temper worsened, making the atmosphere in the company tense and suffocating. I continued to fulfill my duties as an executive assistant, not interjecting, not gossiping, but I couldn't stand it. Lucas Harrison started saying emotional things again. "Lily, born into a family like this, unable to even decide her own marriage. How tragic." I couldn't help but let out a dry laugh. "Yes, yes, yes." He looked at me, his voice gloomy. "Even if you're a block of wood, you should understand, right?" I replied frankly, "Mr. Harrison, I'm gold. I'm gold working as your assistant, and you don't appreciate it. You even call me wood." Pop. He flared up and left. Ava Thompson's plot and Ashley's stand. Ava Thompson came looking for him one day when only I was in the office. "Lily Chen," she said, sitting cross-legged on the sofa, her voice haughty. "Coffee." I brought the coffee and placed it in her hand. She took a sip and smiled sweetly. "You still remember my preference." Then her tone changed, full of hidden meaning. "No wonder Lucas can't leave you. You take such good care of him." I showed no expression. "Mr. Harrison pays quite well. Ava Thompson let out a small, scoffing laugh. Don't play innocent with me. What Lucas thinks of you. Do you think I don't see it? All these years, you've been circling around, and now you've become the moon in his heart. I feigned incomprehension. I don't understand what you're saying, Miss Thompson. I don't understand anything. She stood up, her eyes disdainful. It's fine if you don't understand. Lucas has been stalling his engagement to me because of you. I'll have to find another way. Assistant Chen, prepared to see a good show. I calmly escorted her out. Goodbye, Miss Thompson. Ava Thompson indeed played a big game. She directly found Ashley, offered a $1 million deposit, and told Ashley to seduce Lucas Harrison. In her eyes, Lucas Harrison was only stubbornly refusing to get engaged because he couldn't have me. As long as he got someone similar to me, even a substitute, the feeling of longing would disappear, and he would let go of his obsession. Logically, it sounded plausible, but the problem was Ashley. The girl who was always engrossed in music and almost went crazy from her ideas happened to encounter Ava Thompson at her doorstep. At first, in a daze, Ashley didn't recognize who. It was until she heard her introduce herself and state her purpose. Ashley was startled. Her memories of the previous life and her current mental state collided. In less than a second, she immediately called the police. When I got home, the police were comforting Ashley. She was crying so hard she was almost fainting. Lily, I'm so scared. Wow. As soon as she saw me, Ashley rushed into my arms, crying torrentially. Standing beside her was Ava Thompson, her face darker than I had ever seen it, as if she had cursed me and Ashley a million times in her head. According to her assistant, Ashley had screamed, backing away and calling the police, even frantically tearing at her own hair. Don't come near me, you devil. Don't you dare hurt me again. The police were at a loss with someone like Ashley, who couldn't communicate. They could only tactfully suggest, Miss Chen, perhaps you should take your sister for a checkup. I forced a smile and nodded. Yes, I'll take her for a checkup. I'm so sorry for troubling you gentlemen. As soon as I saw the police off, before I could even turn around, I heard someone call out, Lily, what's going on? Lucas Harrison's appearance immediately created tension again. This time, it was because of Ava Thompson. She had been simmering with resentment, and now she exploded. Lucas Harrison, what are you doing here? Coming to your assistant's house? I didn't want to get caught in her rage, so I carried Ashley to her room. Ashley had calmed down by then, exhausted from crying so much. She softly said, I'm sorry, I caused you trouble again. I gently wiped her tears. I'm the one who got you into trouble. After recounting everything that happened, Ashley's eyes were red, but she smiled. I told you, no matter where you are, you live well. But don't think about revenge because of me. You're healthy, I'm healthy. That's enough for this life. My Ashley was always so gentle, always thinking of me first. Don't worry, you know me best. I know what to do and what not to do. Ashley shifted closer, and I lay down next to her. We held hands, foreheads touching. I whispered, whether it's the Harrison family or the Thompson family, to me now, they're just buzzing FLIs around a big tree. But we're still young. We have plenty of time to deal with this. I'm so happy, Lily. I have a talent for music. The songs I write are loved by many. Every day, I have you by my side. The only thing I'm stressed about is how to write better songs. That's something I never dared to dream of in the previous life. She smiled innocently. Let's protect this happiness together, okay? I smiled too. Yes, definitely. There was a knock on the door outside. I pulled the blanket over Ashley and went to open the door. Ava Thompson was gone. Lucas Harrison stood there, looking tired. Why didn't you tell me from the beginning? I poured him a cup of tea. Because it wasn't necessary. Not necessary? His voice rose slightly. He choked, then gave up. Has Ethan been in touch with you lately? I nodded honestly. Mr. Miller invited me to dinner a few times, but it coincided with work, so I declined. Lucas Harrison let out a laugh, a mix of schadenfreude and sympathy. He looked at me and murmured, what kind of charm do you have anyway? The long game and a new path. 3 years later, Lucas Harrison was past his rebellious phase and formally got engaged to Ava Thompson. My position remained executive assistant, but my work was now completely different from when I first joined the company. I was in charge of key projects, holding almost half the power of a COO. Ava Thompson's media tactics became increasingly diverse, and Ethan Miller continued to try to poach me in various ways. Lucas Harrison was busy beyond belief, his aura making everyone keep their distance. Conversely, I was very happy. Ashley had participated in a singing competition, and while she didn't win first place, she took third, receiving much public adoration and love. Coming home from work, I saw her short hair and was stunned. "Ashley, what happened to your hair?" In that instant, a flurry of thoughts raced through my mind. Anti-fan attacks, acid being thrown. Ashley brushed powder off her hands, smiled, and walked in front of me, twirling around. "What's with that expression? Doesn't it look good?" "My fans all say my short hair is pretty." I sighed in relief and stroked her head. "Yes, it looks beautiful." Ashley continued to hum as she cooked. The diary drawer now only contained documents about the Harrison and Thompson corporations. I always preferred to take more than one step. If there was an easier path than directly crushing them, I wouldn't miss it. So, every day, I secretly prayed for their internal affairs to get tangled up. Science or superstition, I believed wholeheartedly. If your heart is unwavering, there will be a response. Ethan Miller had recently completed a major project, so he was relaxed and free and liked to stir up trouble. He even shamelessly drove to the company to pick me up, saying he wanted to invite me to dinner. This news reached Lucas Harrison the next day, and he immediately had security block Ethan Miller's license plate. Time flowed like water. The year I turned 28, Lucas Harrison and Ava Thompson got married, trending in real time. 2 months later, I proactively resigned due to a non-compete clause in my contract, temporarily becoming unemployed. Ashley seemed to have known this beforehand. She pulled out a bank card and proudly handed it to me. "Spend as much as you want." I didn't hesitate to take it. Lucas Harrison probably thought I left because I was hurt. He drove around drunk, looking for me several times, but each time I coldly escorted him out like a block of wood. My 2 years at home were not wasted. The relationships I built within the Harrison group didn't disappear with my resignation. I also kept track of all of Ava Thompson's moves. The year I turned 30, Ashley released a song commemorating her 30th birthday. I put on my business suit again and walked into the Miller Group building. The sky was gloomy, thick clouds gathering, but it hadn't rained yet. An umbrella appeared before my eyes. I looked up to see a face strikingly similar to mine. Ashley held out the umbrella to me and gently reminded me, "Call me when you're done. I'll pick you up." Ethan Miller walked out of the building and was stunned when he saw my sister and me. Ashley leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Lily, are you choosing him this time? Whether it's letting go or watching, it's still a kind of cruelty. I will always choose you." Everything was gradually heading in a completely different direction. What about the previous life? So what if he wasn't the same towards me anymore? So what if their malice was no longer aimed at me? So what if our feelings changed? I was just a snail in its shell, hiding a knife, slowly crawling up the vine, patiently waiting for the grapes to ripen. The story ends here.